Welcome to the Kortex Media Podcast, Marketing Accelerator, your compass for navigating the dynamic world of marketing and business growth. I'm Korson Schmidt, founder of Kortex Media. Our mission is to equip marketing agencies with the custom growth solutions they need to unlock massive revenue increases and scale their business. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today, we're joined by a leader with a specialized focus on complex distributed markets, John Gough, SVP at Element3. John brings 18 years of experience, starting his career by building websites with a degree in landscape architecture. John co-founded and successfully exited his first agency before joining Element3, which has grown to 38 people. Element3 specializes in RV, marine, power sports, and commercial vehicles. Also co-host of the YUN podcast with CEO Kyler Mason. John, welcome to the show.
Korson, great to be here. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. So, John, at the beginning of your journey, you co-founded your first agency kind of right out of college, really specializing in that outdoor recreation and commercial vehicle space now at Element3. So, I mean, that's a very unique space that you don't hear a lot about. So do you mind telling us kind of who is Element3? What do you guys do? What are your guys' core services today?
Yeah, so Element3 is a full-service agency, been in Indianapolis for 18 years. That just happens to also be my timeline. I've only been here for 5. When I say full service, it basically means everything you would think of: content and creative, analytics, research, performance marketing, paid media, kind of soup to nuts with maybe like an asterisk. We don't do organic social in-house, and we have partners for PR, and so there's some of those services that we augment with partners. But really kind of the core of everything is baked into E3.
Nice, amazing. You can only do so much, right? There's only so many people you can work with, and you guys can specialize in, right? So it's nice to have the people, the network, and the other businesses to really rely on and partner with as well. It's great. It's a great landscape to have because so many people are experts in certain things. And if you guys maybe aren't so much, there's always amazing people out there to help you out. So, I mean, before we really get into this conversation, John, I want you to take us through kind of a quick case study on how you guys have helped a specific client reach their specific goal that they were looking for at the end of the day. So just so we can hear about your process, how you guys go about problem solving and really finding a solution for these companies you guys work with.
Sure. So being full service and kind of specialized in what we would call B2B to X, this distributed marketplace where manufacturers go to market through channels they don't own, dealers, distributors, those kinds of things. That's a pretty specific set of problems. And those problems are pretty consistent across businesses that are like the ones I just described, but they can manifest in different ways. And so, give you an example. The people that are coming to us might have a problem that has to do with like launching a new product. We're a manufacturer, and we're going to bring a new product into this same space, and we don't know exactly what we need to do in terms of reaching the right audience, in terms of focusing on the right features. And so, let's see, about a year ago, we started working with a manufacturer who's having this problem. They've been really successful in some of their other kind of verticals and the product offerings that they had put together. And what they wanted to do is enter kind of a new market that was close to, but not the same as the thing that they had been building and really were the leaders in for a long time. And we have a pretty robust process around product launch because it's one of these things that these industries have to do so regularly. And you can see it on our website. It's not a secret, but it's basically some really clear framing around how you tease the product and then reveal the product and then promote the product. And there's this life cycle sort of marketing that goes on at the end of that. And it's intuitive and like makes sense out of the gate, but it's not exactly the process that many people who are coming into the industry would just follow natively. And so having some framework and some structure built around that led this particular client to one of their best launches that they had in the history of the business. And that's really gratifying because some of these brands are well-known brands, right? They're consumer-facing brands, even though they have this like complex business model. But taking the time and doing it really deliberately let them produce a much better result, and has let us go into this place where our specialization has encouraged us, really frankly, to get really deep on some of the best practices here. So this year we did a research study around product launch specifically. And it's just one of the things we do. But in this research, we partnered with Trader Interactive, which runs a bunch of marketplaces. And so we did consumer surveys with over 500 consumers and dozens of OEMs to talk about what the product launch lifecycle needs to look like, and the data that is around from the moment you launch. How long does it take you to actually reach peak sales? And in some of these industries, it's more than 12 months, and buyer journey and those kinds of things. And so I say all that because all of those things, insights that get baked back into the process. And frankly, one of the benefits of specializing, and I've lived in the world of specialized agencies and non-specialized agencies, and it's really been interesting and fun to see when you're able to sort of plant your flag and declare hey, this is what we do, we're B2B to X. You get so much cool opportunity to really focus and become experts at something.
For sure, especially a tough landscape like the manufacturing space, right? Anyone who's actually dealt with the manufacturing space and tried to go through it with them, it's a very challenging landscape, because you really need to have a banger go-to-market or banger strategy to really show what's up. Because these companies aren't small; they're massive companies with massive brands, with massive teams, right? So making sure that you guys are experts and leading the companies in the right direction is super important. Now, it's an amazing story that you told us there, John, and I kind of want to bring this more into a lead gen factor. How do you guys reach some of these bigger companies that you guys work with? I know you work with Airstream, for example. That's not a small company, so reaching out to them, might be quite tough because they have a lot of people, and it's tough to reach the right people at the same time. So how do you guys go about reaching some of these amazing teams that you guys work with?
It's a great question, and I would maybe also put an asterisk that some of these people are industry leaders. Airstream's an industry leader, storied brand that's been around for a long, long time. And people recognize the silver bullet. It's very cool. Yeah. It's fun. It's cool to work on brands that people recognize as a marketer. And we've been really fortunate that we've worked with Airstream for almost 10 years. Wow. And so the relationship there is really deep and really strong. And that's certainly not true for all of our businesses. Your question's about lead generation. Some of these manufacturers are big and have big teams, and some of them are big and have very small teams, or are or even kind of in the startup or in the challenger brand sort of moment. And so it kind of takes all kinds, and you have to be thoughtful, to your point, about how do you reach the right person in the organization that has been kind of clued in and cares about the thing that we care about and that we think that we can do. And some of those are baseline sort of, I guess you even say cultural alignment pieces, right? Do you believe as a leadership team or as a marketer that brand matters? Whether you're in B2B2B or B2B2C, if you don't believe that your brand matters, frankly, we're pretty bad fit, because we're a building full of people who actually really care a lot about brand. Mm-hmm. I had a conversation with a manufacturing leader a couple of months ago, and I was talking to him and one of the guys on his board, and I asked him, what would it mean to you to be the McDonald's of your industry? And he's like, I don't care about being the McDonald's of my industry, because that's not how my industry works. This is a fair response for somebody who doesn't live and breathe marketing all the time. And the board member was like, I'm not even going to tell you how much that would matter to me, because then you're going to charge me a bunch more. Mm-hmm. And it's because being the McDonald's of your industry, from our perspective, from a brand perspective, is you couldn't get anything better, right? Full recognition, full mental availability on something like that is just 10 out of 10. You can't buy that. You can, but it takes a long time and a lot of money. Yeah. So philosophical alignment's really important, and we drive that by being really vocal about who we are and what we believe. It's plastered all over our websites, on our podcast. We tend to be really brand forward and in our comms and those kinds of things. So people who like that, they sort of like vibe with it, right? They like
Yeah.
resonate immediately. And then like I'll now finally answer your question. How do you actually get in front of those people? It's talking a lot about the things that they care about, and it's about finding them when they're in market, just like it is for any other business. Like lots of these people have lots of these problems that we can solve for them, but they're not shopping right now, and that's okay. And so our go-to-market really is about making sure that we are in the right places all the time, so that when it becomes the right time for these shoppers, whether they're in leadership teams or in marketing teams or anywhere else in the business, they think, I've seen the people who solved this for me before, or even better, I have a relationship with these people because they came to the trade show or because I listened to their podcast or those kinds of things. And you like, you are the first thought.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's an amazing concept. And I mean, with these bigger companies and just having information out there for them to listen to, or like you said, you guys have a podcast as well, so they might see that you guys are speaking with a lot of manufacturers and chip in, be like, hey, this guy's a leader in the space. He speaks with a lot of manufacturers. Well, I wonder what he can do with us, and just having that, like you said, that information available and ready. So, yeah, that was a great answer. I love that. I love that answer. So, moving on to kind of more of the industry today within this marketing landscape, like we're all at quite an intersection with AI, and there's a lot going on in the market. I mean, we're at the end of the year as well. That usually doesn't help a lot of us at the same time. So right now with the market being moving so fast, everything changing very quickly, and it being such a saturated industry at the same time, what are some of the biggest trends that you're seeing in the industry that are really affecting you guys, or maybe that you guys are taking advantage of and really helping you guys out? I mean, other than the end of the year rush that we're kind of going through, and we're all kind of getting to 2026 at the end of the day, but what are some of those trends that you guys are seeing that are fighting through, or maybe benefiting as well, benefiting Element3 to move forward as well?
The AI thing is real. Not just in terms of like how are we as an organization adopting it and changing and trying to stay on top of that wave, but from a new business perspective too. We have been frankly surprised and delighted by some of our recent like inbound new business that's coming from AI search. So like at least 3 in the past couple of weeks have come.
Wow.
Like form fills have come from I found you on Grok, I found you on ChatGPT.
Wow.
And that had not been true, even 6 months ago. So there, I don't know if that's a trend or not. I would love for that to be a trend. Right now it's just a couple of data points. I think the other thing that, everybody's talking about and being really thoughtful about, especially because we're in this manufacturing space, is it's been a really rough year from a tariff perspective and from like a business continuity perspective. Certainly the manufacturing leaders that we talk to, both on the mic and off, are, I think they're trying to be really optimistic, and I think they're listening to market signals where, in commercial vehicle, for instance, there are strong signals that we've been in like a 3-year freight drought. Basically, the cost of freight has been really challenging, and so like trailer manufacturers and shippers and 3PL companies have really struggled for the last couple of years post-COVID, and the market signals appear to suggest that by like Q3 of next year, that we're gonna like dip back out of that. That comes from a group over at Act Research that we've got a good relationship with, and they do a lot of like the NTEA kind of like forecasting, economist forecasting. So like strong signals from people we trust about like good movement in the market. On the outdoor rec side, I was talking to a senior economist at Wells Fargo last week, and he was basically saying kind of the same thing, like Q3 of 26, a lot of the market softness, a lot of the consumer confidence stuff probably starts to pick up. And so we'll all benefit from that again. That's still a lot of guesswork, but guesswork from smart people. And so those are market trends that we pay a ton of attention to, because not only are we looking for that to be a signal that manufacturers are going to start buying again and then have more money to go do marketing, which is great. But also, as we are trying to service our clients, the question of when do you put this marketing back like at full steam or full throttle? We did some work for an organization a couple of years ago, so just a little bit of consulting work about how do you time media in marine, right? Which is a very seasonal industry. People buy boats when it's nice to go out and get on boats, unless you're in Florida, which is all the time. And the answer to that question really has a lot to do with this market timing. Like you sort of like always on, evergreen, and then you like amplify when people are in market and buying. And so that those answers to those like big macro trends have a lot to do with the recommendations that we would make to a trailer manufacturer and say, hey, like you need to consider how you're going to time going back into market really strongly to your dealers or to the end consumer, because freight prices are going to pick up. And so this is like how to be thoughtful about that. So some of those are tech trends that we're thinking about. Some of those are like just economy trends and like how the world works kind of trends.
Yeah, I mean, like the economy has been a huge impact on the automotive world in general, just from past conversations that I've had with dealerships and etc. I mean, and even just seeing some of the deals that these dealerships are throwing out, like 0% financing from a dealership is, I mean, you don't hear that very often, but they're kind of at a standstill and they need to get cars moving. They need to make money, and it's a tough landscape for everyone right now, kind of with those tariffs. And I mean, I want to bring up AI a little bit more as well, because you brought up and said that you guys have really found some clients that have been finding you through these LLMs. Now, do you guys have a specific strategy on your GEO optimization or anything, or is it just the data that you guys originally had on your website? Because I mean, everyone's trying to navigate this landscape to get their data optimized most efficient possible to get it on these LLMs. I mean, it's a tough landscape. No one really knows where it's going to go with AI and etc. But do you mind me asking that question, if you guys have really been focusing on that and working on that as well?
Yeah, I think that as a marketing agency, and me personally with some background in performance marketing, the answer is like, yeah, you have to focus on it at some level. Has the game really changed in terms of like what do you do to optimize for AEO or GEO versus SEO? I would say that like not totally, but not at all. And so things that are still true are the things that were true previously. Like, does your page content make sense, and like, is it organized well, and does it cross link well, and are you doing those kinds of things? Yes, like those are like best practices and have been touchstones for years. What are we doing differently? I think that the thing that has really been driving that opportunity for us is the consistency and the like specificity of the kind of thing that we produce. And so what we're getting found for is the thing that we're really specifically producing tons and tons and tons of content around, which is B2B to X, manufacturer model, or marketing, like product launches, et cetera, et cetera. So the things that I've been talking about, and our like just like heartbeat rhythm around that has been, I think, really crucial to us. Now, way before I got here, and huge credit to the founder of the agency and the digital leaders that were here before me, when HubSpot basically like coined inbound marketing and like did all that work to make that a real thing, branded it. Maybe it's probably the right way to say that, because it has existed for a long time. Our leadership at the time saw that as an opportunity and really hard at that. And so we were one of the first partner agencies of the year in HubSpot, and have like maintained our partnership with them for a long time, which has been really great and fruitful. But one of the things that we adopted at that time and have really never given up on is this like idea of we're just like gonna treat our own marketing as a heartbeat. We're just never gonna not produce. We're never gonna not like care about that. And so for an organization our size to have invested as heavily as we have on our own marketing, I think is pretty uncommon. And I think that the dividend that pays off is exactly like the answer to your question. How do you get ranked? How do you focus on those kinds of things? It's like you have to be incredibly serious about that and willing to invest in it. And a marketing manager is an absolute kind of stalwart about that thing, and just like he never gives up on it. And to his credit, he's produced a lot of good results.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I feel like that's one of the biggest things agencies struggle with, honestly, is their own marketing efforts. Like they're great at doing the clients they work with marketing, and they're great at getting them results, but they never find the time maybe, or they don't actually focus on their own marketing efforts, which, I mean, can lead to a dry pipeline and slow you down if maybe you're not working with the right clients. But
I'd go a step further though, because I think that like not focusing on it is certainly one thing. But like, and having been in this situation, I'm perfectly willing to raise my hand and say this, like, sometimes you look in the mirror and you're like, I literally don't know how to generate more leads, which is the scariest thing in the world for the owner of a marketing agency to admit to yourself. Like,
for sure. I bet.
like, oh, wow. Okay. I'm supposed to be an expert at this. And maybe I am in my particular industry, but like cobbler's kids' shoes are always the last ones to get fixed. And so, there's some discipline things, like kind of what I was talking about before, but there's also just like some go-to-market things, like some of the questions that you've asked me, that are you really specific about who you are best fit for? Are you like really deliberate about your messaging and your own sort of outbound or inbound or partner, or like however you're going to like build your go-to-market strategy? And if so, what does that look like, and how are you investing in it? And if not, like, are you actually getting the result that you would probably expect from that?
Yeah, well, it's another great point. And just expanding off it is, I mean, sometimes they do have great marketing efforts, but no offense to CEOs out there, but they think they're the best salesman for their brand, but they're really losing and leaking clients or leaking revenue because their sales process or their pipeline or their funnel isn't really structured for what they're trying to do, and they're losing revenue through that as well. And it's, I mean, you see it time and time again, is just their sales process just needs tweaked a little bit, or they just need a little bit of maybe a closer, or just a follow up after a message follow up after a meeting, and it can drive huge results for you. So I mean, there's a ton of marketing agencies with great efforts for their clients, but when it comes to their own, just like you said, it just misses the point. The dots don't quite connect in that aspect of it. Now, I mean, you see it quite often, but you coming from the agency space and being in it now, how important is it to keep that pipeline full and keep leads coming in, keep conversations happening, just with clients or prospects in general?
It's life and death. You know, it's the thing that wherever I have been and whatever I've been doing, someone in the agency is that's their biggest priority. And certainly, you know, when we were early days in the company that we had started, most importantly, when you get your first employee and you have to make payroll, like you can eat top ramen for a long time when you're first out of school, but when you got to pay somebody else's salary, then having a full pipeline is the whole gig. And you know, if you've got like an agency hierarchy of needs, revenue is number one, cash is runway.
For sure. And it gives you a chance that if you're working maybe with a client that doesn't quite align with you, it gives you a chance to just kind of fill in someone else, kind of let someone go and work with the people you want to work with, that you can get the best results as well. Just bouncing on top of that. But so I want to move. I mean, we kind of touched on AI, and I mean, it's such an amazing tool to use. It creates so much operational efficiencies within companies, and it can really leverage a lot of tasks. But there's a lot of companies that are kind of at intersections, like I said earlier, and they don't know how to use it properly. They don't know whether they can trust it, or they don't know where they can specifically use it. So how are you guys really leveraging this tool to make your operational tasks just a little bit more efficient at the end of the day, maybe bridging some gaps so you're not focusing 2 hours on responding to emails and you have your agent doing that. Where are you guys really leveraging this tool to benefit yourselves at Element3?
A couple areas. So we've been really deliberate about our adoption, both culturally and sort of practically.
Mm-hmm.
When it was within weeks of ChatGPT being announced several years ago, that the leadership team all looked at each other and were like, this is it. This is do or die stuff. And organizations that understand and adopt this will thrive, and the ones that don't, and especially in our industry, I think Sam Altman said this several years ago, that they're coming for marketing first. I don't know if that's been borne out exactly, but the threat is certainly there, and and we've seen organizations at least use that as an excuse to either lay people off or restructure the way that they approach their marketing. Some of that feels more like smoke than fire right now, but I think your question is framed as sort of a positive one, which I appreciate. How are we using it? We have an individual in the organization. She's on our kind of operations team. Her name's Amy, and she's excellent about this. She's completely dedicated, and leads our internal culture team around AI adoption and sort of AI council, and make sure that she or somebody is standing up in front of the company on a monthly basis and saying, hey, these are tools that we're adopting. These are ways that we're pursuing this. These are new tech or new kind of different approaches that we should have. We primarily are on Claude. Some people are on ChatGPT, and we're sort of in a couple different systems and ways. But we build a Claude project for basically every new project that we start, so we can talk to AI about it. We use it to get feedback on some of our communications. If we're trying to make sure that this is really going to hit the target for a particular client, we'll build a project around that and say, hey, this is what we are proposing. Show us the gaps. And so we're not using it to generate net new creative, for example, but we are using it to sharpen the saw in really every corner of the business. I think our creative team is another group that has been really forward thinking about how to use it effectively. And so one of the things that they started doing basically immediately when they got on Midjourney several years ago was using it to accelerate some of their storyboarding and concepting. And so that's actually one of the cool places that it really thrives, where we're not trying to produce a finished deliverable, but we're trying to produce a proof of concept or a prototype, or we're going to vibe code a little feature or something, where it doesn't have to be ready for the market, but it needs to be something that we can have a conversation around. That type of acceleration, it's hard to overstate how helpful that has been to the business and to even client comms. I mean, that kind of stuff we'll put in front of clients all day long because they feel really safe around that. There's no risk around that image that you generated has 6 fingers and therefore you guys aren't being thoughtful or careful. As long as it's internal documentation, everybody gets it. Nobody cares.
Yeah, for sure. You can't go to market with these AI. You still need human look over, if that makes sense, with a fine-tooth comb at the end of the day as well. Because it does make mistakes, but it's an amazing tool, like you said, just to use it as a template to kind of bounce around ideas or bounce ideas off of, whether you're using Claude or ChatGPT, and keep everything centralized as well. It's an amazing opinion tool at the end of the day.
And look at near misses on that too. Sorry to interrupt, but just
okay.
Jump on there. It's easy to see how quickly you could get burned on some of that stuff. So we were working with a company that was trying to produce outsourced creative and use generative AI to do it. It was just scaling media assets. It wasn't even that big of a deal, but until it was, right? And it erased a couple of words on an ad because it didn't know the difference, right? It's just pushing pixels around. And if you don't have a human looking at that thing, then you won't know. You need that human in the loop interaction at least to to produce the kind of quality that we would expect and that we would feel proud to put in front of clients and out to the market. And so
For sure.
we've also, been delivered copy from other agencies that we've been asked to either look over or load into interfaces, and it's kind of clear to see that that's where it came from, and it didn't work. And so that kind of stuff, I think, like, continues to be a pretty serious watch out for it. I think the promise is certainly there, and it gets better every day. But here today, at the end of 2025, we're not quite there yet. We're not fully trusting yet.
No, not quite. We're just at the beginning of this revolution. It's kind of exciting, and we're all kind of on the edge of our seat, waiting for what's going to happen. But we're all along for the ride as well. So, I mean, it's a great tool. We need to be using it. It's not going to be going away anytime soon. So, we might as well embrace it, use it, leverage it, and expand your knowledge as much as possible, especially with the early days. And it being free, it might not be free in the near future, right? So,
free or nearly free.
Yeah, exactly. Looking ahead for Element3, John, what are some of the strategic goals that you guys have, or what's the vision behind Element3? Where do you guys really want to take it, and where do you guys want to be in the next few years, moving forward with Element3?
I mean, we're fully dedicated to the space that we've carved out for ourselves. The leading marketing agency in B2B to X is where we're going. And so what does that mean for us specifically? It means that we can compete against global and specialist providers who do the kinds of things that we do. Yeah. It means that we get asked for by name for leaders in our industries. And we have a really deliberate plan around how we're going to build that brand and how we're going to build the services and capabilities around that. I guess I would say, like, so far so good. And also there's a long road ahead to build those reputation and also continue to expand what we're capable of and the relationships that we have and the people that know us and trust us. If a couple of years from now we have this podcast again, I hope that's the conversation we're having. It's like, wow, you made it. How did it happen? I hope you don't have to ask how it happened.
Well, I mean, hey, we'd all want to hear the breakdown on kind of what you guys did. What were the steps you guys took to get there? Because if one person can do it, it just means the rest of us can as well, and we can all drive towards that goal. So, I mean, let's definitely book that one in the calendar right now. Let's give it. How long do you think you need? 2 years time? A year time?
2.5. Give me 2.5.
Perfect. Let's get that in the calendar right now. But no, I love that you guys have the vision on where you guys want to take. You're super confident in where you want to go as well, which is super important, because I speak to a lot of companies. I mean, I've probably said this thousands of times on this podcast, but I speak to a lot of companies and they don't even have an end goal and where they want to be or where they want to take the company. And you don't have, it's just like a roadmap. If you have a destination, you don't have a map, it's pretty hard to get to that goal, right? You get to that destination, where if you have the destination, you've broke down the roadmap on how to get there, take steps every single day to get to that destination, you're going to get there a lot quicker, a lot more efficient, and it's just a clear path to the destination. So, I mean, I love that you guys have that vision. You guys have the steps in place. You said 2.5 years, so I'll be sending you an email in 2.5 years to get the podcast booked in, and we'll have that conversation. But that's a huge factor. It's all, like, to be able to have a goal and have your whole team confident that you guys are going to be pushing towards this goal and accomplishing this goal, and bring your team with you is an amazing thing, because there's a lot of misalignment between companies, and that's what is holding them back from really reaching their goals. So how do you guys keep this positive mindset, this positive drive towards the goals with your team, with Element3, all driving towards that end destination?
I think the mindset part is in our DNA. I think that's been kind of part of who we've been for a long time. And again, credit to our founder, Tiffany Sauter, who's just like an astonishing kind of personality. And she also has a podcast that you should be listening to called The Life of And. And she's still very much around. And I think that, her original vision for what the company could be, and then her really effective handoff to our current CEO, and his really deliberate leadership and kind of focus on this particular strategy is the thing that produces that alignment. And so it's been so gratifying to be a part of the agency over the course of that like strategic transition, and to see how people in the organization, the more they understand the strategy, the more they feel expert in the verticals that we're servicing, and they see the repetition that we're producing, and they see the market respond to that, the easier it is to believe that that the growth outcomes are going to happen. And they're certainly not guaranteed, right? It's not like, oh, well, good, it's a foregone conclusion, 2.5 years. Like, we love the good attitude, and we love the winning spirit about it. And also it's like an incredible amount of work.
Yeah.
But being aligned, to your point, one of my favorite words is, it is the most critical piece of getting a team of 40 or 400 people to like actually produce anything like this.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's exciting. That's awesome. It all starts with the foundation of the team, because I mean, they're the ones doing the work. They're the ones paying the bills, and you can keep that great community around it. Everyone's going to be growing. Everyone's going to be pushing themselves to take the company to that next step. And they all want to go to the next step. They're not showing up every day, oh, I got to go to work. No, they're excited. They're happy that you guys are driving towards a goal. There's a map, and they know what step they have to take, and the whole team has to take to get there as well. So
there's an infectious energy about the desire for growth too, especially for high performers, right? Because when you're in that environment, you see that there is upside opportunity for everybody involved. When the company grows, there are more roles that open up. There's more leadership opportunities. There's more career level achievements that people can kind of like grab onto and say, I want to like go accomplish something, and I can do it here because there's room to move. And the opposite is also true in an organization that is fairly static. It becomes pretty hard for people who like want to live in that kind of energy to look around and say like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to have to leave. And that's scary, right? Like, it's not scary. And I think maybe like to put some punctuation on this like leadership transition thing, and I've mentioned Tiffany and Kyler. When Tiffany handed over the leadership reins to Kyler, and she said to him and to the entire agency at the same time, really, is the one thing that can't change is the purpose. And like in that DNA. Again, another thing you see on our website, and like honestly is like not just lip service, this idea of fostering growth in people and business so we can change the world, so rather that they can change the world. Whether it's the individual who's like learned a bunch here and has like gone on to go be a CMO, or the president of another agency, which both those things happened this year at Element3. Like those are like huge celebratory moments, right? Where these like individuals who have demonstrated great leadership and huge contribution to the company like go and take another great role. It's like how do you help but throw a party for that person? And how do you like also at the same time continue to build an organization that when somebody has that kind of opportunity, they actually have to think twice. Like, I could go be the president of this other organization, but I really love what we're doing here, and I love the people I work with, and I see there's opportunity in both places. And I think if you can produce that kind of environment, then you're going to win every time, whether they leave or not. Like, you can celebrate with them in either case.
For sure. That's a great point you brought up there. Now, I want to move the conversation more into kind of the young marketer just getting started, or maybe the young entrepreneur just getting started. John, what is the best piece of advice you have for them to take their first steps in this crazy industry?
Try everything, wear every hat. I think the thing, I'll speak from my own experience. The thing that has served me best is being willing to just say yes to something I didn't know how to do. I admire people who have like a real clarity of purpose and have had it their entire life. my dad was one of those people. He just like knew from when he was 12 what exactly like what he wanted to do, and when he turned 20, he went and did it. And like I've never met a more deliberate man in my entire life, and I love him and respect him. And also like just that's not something that I've been gifted with. But what I have on the other hand is like a insatiable desire for knowledge. I want to learn everything. I want to be competent at everything. And so, I mean, the things that I see people do when they get great opportunities, and they leapfrog from thing to thing, is they're not afraid. They're not afraid to put themselves out there. They're not afraid to fail. They're not afraid to ask questions. And when they do invariably stumble, fall, fail, screw something up, it's not the end of the world. And they've like built structures and environment around themselves where like failure is not the worst thing that could happen to them. That's the thing that's going to buy you all kinds of runway.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Some great advice there, John. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to add any more to it because it was perfect. I can't really add much more to that other than just even putting yourself out of your comfort zone. Like I started this podcast 6 months ago, and I was never confident speaking in front of a camera, especially to an individual like you, John. And having this opportunity, it's amazing to do it. And I mean, I was out of my comfort zone at the beginning, but now I get to have amazing conversations with individuals like yourself. So just an example of putting yourself out of your comfort zone and continue pushing forward and try new things. I feel like knowledge is everything these days because there's so much knowledge at your fingertips, but it's really the experience that matters as well.
Yeah, I think the other thing that your story here is a great example of is like, I feel the same way about our podcast, by the way. Like Kyler and I look at each other on a semi-regular basis and be like, okay, we have a podcast. Like even saying that out loud sometimes feels kind of silly, but we've had like such an awesome experience recording the podcast and meeting the people that we've met with. And we like continue to be, I'm not surprised by the quality of guests. I'm surprised that we're so fortunate that we get to have those conversations. And so, it's, I guess I would say nothing ventured, nothing gained. I got a guy on my team who likes to say scared money don't make money. Which I just like I like the way that rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, to your point, man, like, you don't have to, your first one's going to always be bad, and that's okay. And that's another Tiffanyism that I've talked a lot about. Tiffany, I'm a big fan. But just like knowing that your first version of any of these things is going to be bad is so freeing that you don't have to be good on the first one. And I like to talk about the first pancake. Like the first pancake that comes off the griddle is ugly. Tastes good, like usually tastes good, but it is weird looking, and that's okay. And just carry that into the rest of your life.
That's awesome. I've never heard that, but I got to use that now. The pancake. That's awesome. Anyway,
you know exactly what I'm talking, right?
Yeah,
like, you've never made a pretty first pancake.
No, exactly. It's true. There's no doubt about it. It's true. And I mean, yeah, it's just like riding a bike, right? No one could ever ride a bike at first. I mean, they had training wheels, and then you got thrown onto a two-wheeler and you ate shit how many times, but you still got up and kept biking, and now you don't even think about it. So
that's right.
Same thing. So John, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. Much appreciated. Hearing your knowledge, your expertise, hearing about Element3 and how to navigate this landscape of the agency world, the marketing world, and AI all in one. So thanks for taking the time to join me today.
Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure. I enjoyed it. I'll talk to you again in about, 30 months?
Yeah, 2.5 years. Sounds good. We'll get it on the calendar right now.
Okay, thanks.